Brodes Media.
The moral of the story and the takeaway is the two-man game and the professionalism of James Harden in the half court. Oh, he's so washed. Oh, he's so awful. No, you know what he does? Do you see the spacing difference? That final three made by TYRESE Maxey, I believe it was his final shot because the Sixers were annihilating so much that they were able to actually get off the floor, all of their starters, and put their feet up comfortably, knowing that that was all she wrote and the Sixers won the damn basketball game. But TYRESE Maxey had, I think, 6,000 feet in between him and the closest defender because James Harden is that much of a threat. And it's so insane, the difference. See, we've been brainwashed, and I was part of the brainwashing experience, no doubt. But there was an area of time where we got brainwashed into thinking that, oh, this isn't it. No, the issue is Ben Simmons doesn't shoot a basketball. And James Harden is a damn weapon. So when you are defending him and you realize that he can step back and cash a three in your face, and if you contest it, you're probably going to foul him. And if you foul him, now it's a 4-point play. Or, hey, we have to find ways to definitely make sure he won't beat me. Oh, what's that? Maxey's wide open. Maxey had the opportunity to let this game just work in his favor with his speed. And a few shows ago, a fantastic listener called in and asked a question about who I thought this would help the most, the James Harden edition. And I think naturally we all feel, well, Joel Embiid, obviously, because he now has a stud and he has a game changer to roll with and to pop with. You saw that deep three that he made, right? You come around the screen, Joel Embiid hangs out, 6 feet further from the actual three-point line and cashes it in. And it was a weird start for him, right? He wasn't shooting well from the field, but what do you know? When he does have tough nights and the ball isn't finding the back of the rim, he ends up getting to the line and getting some free throws. And he was 9 for 11, the 1 point that I looked at his box score throughout the game and said, okay, it's been a tough one. It's been a weird one. It's been a shaky start. Now his finger started to bleed. He had the blood gushing there. You also know that he's had wrist problems even before the All-Star break, and I'm sure that that's going to continue to linger throughout the rest of the regular season and into the postseason, but he's done just a fine job of battling through that adversity. And my point is, Embiid did figure out his game. He started making some mid-range jumpers right inside that paint area, that soft touch jumper that we all love so much that basically is wet, never touches the back part of the iron, never touches the back part of the rim. And sometimes that's nice, though. You know when you drill a shot and it just hits that back iron and kind of even almost finds you again when you're playing at the local ball, you're just putting up jumpers, right? You're hitting step backs by yourself, hits the back rim. But it's even better when it's the soft touch that perfectly flows the ball into more towards the back part of the backboard. And it's just, that's Joel Embiid's money spot. That's what he does. James Harden, though, not only found him with some of those scenarios, it almost was as if, and it seems like a cliche thing to say right now because almost everybody is saying it, but everyone's saying it and tweeting it out there for a reason because it is so damn eye-popping, because it is so damn sensational. But James Harden found so many people and put them in so many positions to succeed that they were almost stunned and baffled on what him being there really was going to do. We all talked about it for weeks, right? Well, the spacing, and we knew it was going to be real, but the players almost had to experience it and recognize, holy hell, this is different. Oh man, whoa, this is what it's going to be like. And someone who is Tobias Harris, for example, is going to have nights where wide open looks just didn't cash in, wasn't capable of necessarily knocking them down. But I'll play my numbers game over a long period of time with Toby, and I think he'll be just fine and play more like that 6-week span that we saw prior to the trade deadline compared to what we saw tonight. I saw early possessions, though, that I liked out of him. And I even thought defensively on Karl-Anthony Towns, he was part of the process that got Karl-Anthony Towns so disappointed, so disgusted, so bothered, right? I mean, seriously, Karl-Anthony Towns just throwing his body all around, and he's getting all pissed off and annoyed, and that totally took him out of his mojo and out of what he probably wanted to establish early on in the action. And I thought Tobias played some important minutes on him and definitely opened up the door for that that to even occur to begin with. So he still did have an impact. Same with Matisse Thybulle, who had an impact. I still get annoyed and bothered every time he misses a wide open three because I never feel comfortable with him shooting it. It just never seems like it's actually going to work. But the tip that happened before halftime was major. Obviously, he started some plays with the defensive intensity that opened up Tyrese Maxey's game and just his speed, the ability to get Maxey going. James Harden, being new here, was going to open up Tyrese Maxey's game the most. And I don't even know if I finished my sentence that I started about 5 minutes ago about a previous caller. It might even been longer than that. Who the hell knows? I just ramble. But there was a previous caller that asked who is going to be impacted the most. And maybe I shut the door in that conversation. Like, I honestly forget. That's how many things are bouncing around my brain where I might have even capped off that statement and that thought, and maybe I didn't. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. All I know is James Harden, 12 assists, 8 rebounds. Well, they need to do better at rebounding. Well, they lost a lot in Ben Simmons. You're not wrong. They did lose a lot in Ben Simmons. Don't devalue and downplay what James Harden does, because James Harden is mind-blowingly fantastic at rebounding and finding his teammates too. Do you see what shooting a basketball does for a defender on ball with someone who is a primary ball handler that is an elite pass? James Harden is an absolute nut job at passing the basketball. He's not just a one-dimensional player. This is what a lethal, scary offense provides. Now, we do have some donations coming in. We got $5 coming in from Brandon. Okay, opposing teams, pick your poison. MVP, who takes double teams like a champ already. Tyrese Floater City Maxey, or the beard. Maxey was absurd, right? I mean, that floater, the speed was even more eye-opening than it ever was. And I think it's because of the way that James Harden has more of that professional run with his style, right? That's what he does. When he's dribbling up the floor and he's starting to set things, it's such a slowed down, real pace of hoops, NBA hoops, legitimate, serious. I actually know what I'm doing. I know how to run an offense style. So when you give it to Maxey with more space, what are you going to do if you're a defender? Embiid, Harden, or this kid who looks like he's the fastest human on earth and he's flying around at 6,000 miles per hour? Which threat do I have? And I know Tobias stunk today when it came to actually delivering and shooting the basketball well, but I do feel over time when you give him more opportunities and the advantage is in his favor because there's so much space in front of him to let it fly, he'll be okay long term. But tonight, yeah, okay. And that's why I always stated, look, we touched on it for a whole damn week and a half, it seems like. You have Embiid, you have Harden. Then your 3A, 3B is going to be a combination, depending on the night, of Maxey or Tobias. And Maxey defensively, he had a handful of steals, 4 steals, and he was a menace on that side, making sure there was a lot of disturbing occurring, and he was flying around town. I loved every single moment of seeing him take advantage of his floater, of his threes. I love seeing him shoot the damn basketball in general, 12 of 16. And speaking of efficiency, the beard was 5 of 7 from 3, 7 of 12. I love that here I have Embiid, slow start field goal wise, but finished with 34 and 10. You saw your 3-headed monster, and tonight it happened to be Maxey as your 3, but you saw your 3-headed monster play. And this is what you should anticipate, and this is what you should see. Now, I know that the bench, and we're going to get to the phones in one moment, the bench was definitely an issue at a time of late third quarter, went to the all-bench 25. I didn't have a problem when you're up 25 to put it in all-bench. That's fine. But I was screaming at the time of watching the game, and I want to thank everybody who came out and watched the live watch party with me, the live stream. I had a great time. There were some giveaways given out, and congratulations to all the winners. We had a giveaway each quarter, and I also showed my shoe selection as we are forming into a sneakerhead. So that happened too. I showed off my Jordan 1s, my Jordan 3s, my SBs, my Dunks, my New Balance 550s. We had a blast. But anyway, getting back to the moral of the story is, okay, Doc, it's getting ugly. Now go back to what you want to. And I figure that some of Maxey's foul trouble issues, where he had about 4 personal fouls, definitely played a role in why some of those decisions were made. And then Doc Rivers confirmed that during his post-game press conference. So I figured that there was some sort of momentum killer early on that was going to backfire due to the poor calls made by the referees. But at the end of the day, we still saw Tyrese Maxey flourish, and this is what I expected. It's just now you see it happen, and it almost has the light bulb go off where you think, oh, damn, this is real. Okay, this isn't just talking about it now. Now you get to witness it and experience it. And there was a time where I thought, this is somewhat of a boring game. Get used to it. Get used to it, because this is what happens when your offense turns into a dynamic piece, okay? You're going to end up outscoring some of these opponents, and you're going to start destroying them even more because there's way more of a structured, real professional offense being ran, and it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing to witness.
Wow, this is going to be fun, man. This is going to be fun. I had high expectations going into this game because the anticipation was huge the second the trade was made, but wow, a 30-point drubbing the first game, and they just made it look easy out there. And obviously the Timberwolves aren't the best opponent that we're going to face. They're not a bad team, but the fact that we just completely murdered them on their own court, like, this is going to be fun, man. This is going to be fun, and this is going to be wonderful.
It is. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are like a 500 team out west, and they're not a disaster, but they're not a great team either. I think they got under Karl-Anthony Towns' skin early, and that definitely dictated his frustration, and then he was bothered, and then he wasn't able to dial in as smoothly as he would like. But you're absolutely right. To see this team go out there, win by 30, you knew that they'd be excited to play for one another, but the ceiling is only going to get higher. If this is somewhat of the let's throw it together and see what the patchwork is like in a first scenario situation, you can only imagine that the expectations can go up, even though it's never going to be a straight line or a straight trajectory, I should say, up, and it only gets better every single game. Sure, there's some flaws to kind of work through and some kinks along the way, but there's no doubt that it can get even more aggressive with some of their sets, and that's a scary thing if you're on the other side.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And that's with Harden, he brings a whole dimension that Ben Simmons never did. And everyone's like, oh, don't even mention him. He's like Voldemort or something. Just don't ever mention him ever again. But, like, here's the thing. Like, we got something back real for him. We got back Harden. And some people were saying, oh, he's not enough. There's the same people who said that you'll never trade for a star. You'll never trade Simmons for a star. And now Harden apparently isn't enough. Anyway, those people are morons. I'm just happy what we have, and I'm already excited for the playoffs, even though we got like 20 games left, but I want to see what we do for the rest of the regular season too. It's just a very exciting time to be a Sixers fan.
It is. And thank you so much. Great phone call. Yeah, the reaction of get rid of him for anyone, and then you find out getting somebody really important who goes by the name of James Harden, and then all of a sudden that's not good enough. And oh, you got someone who'll never work. He always wants out of town, and he's always unhappy, and he's had playoff woes in the past. I've tried explaining this to everyone out there where, I think it's easy to just sit there and say you lost the series in the playoffs before, and you had a couple ugly moments, and maybe you didn't show up as well as you would like to in a game 7, you will never win with him. He will never be good. Those players always are going to be failures. Every winner loses. Every winner at some point in their career went through some tough losses, bad moments, and pretty disgusting situations play out. People yell at LeBron James for not winning enough. And there was the time, let's say the first year in Miami, they didn't win, when they probably should have won too, if you think about how talented their team was. There's been some tough losses for LeBron James. There's been some tough losses for Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant didn't win a championship every single year of his career, and he was one of the best killers that we've seen out there. You don't think those losses played a role and definitely motivated Kobe Bryant to get back into the gym at 4 a.m. the next day? It's okay to lose, and it's all right to have some tough moments. It's what do you do with those moments? And I'm willing to find out if James Harden, especially when you think of the fair compensation that was given up, if James Harden paired together with an MVP of Joel Embiid, paired together with a young TYRESE MAXEY who's flashy and extremely difficult to deal with off the dribble. And even from three, the dude's got no hesitation to shoot balls from the three right now and just lets it go. Corner three, here it is. So off the dribble, mid-range, floater, he can attack the rim. He's starting to, just like with Joel, pick and choose your poison. Now it's pick and choose your poison on how to defend TYRESE. Do we let him get an easy two? Do we dare him to take a three? Will he have a floater if there's some space to target the paint area and by the free throw line throw up a little? How do you do? Can that even be incorporated to maybe some, I don't know, so maybe some slams too, possibly? If there's ever some minutes where Harden's on the bench and you're running your team with the ball general that is TYRESE MAXEY, can you find ways to maybe utilize a pick and utilize that floater game, but maybe make it a threat and then also have it be a lob like we've seen Trae Young destroy this team before in the past? If you're a pick and roll team, you stay up on him? Do you play back? Pick your poison. There's a lot to unpack here out of the TYRESE MAXEY game. 12 of 16 with 4 steals. In what universe? Remarkable. That's the word I like to utilize tonight. Impeccable.